everybody, I'm Alan Garber with Super Clear Epoxy. We're here doing a general overview of one of our products, liquid glass deep pour epoxy. That's our original 2 to 4 inch flagship product. Basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a general dive into what it is, what the applications are, just a general overview, how to work with it. All right, so let's jump right into this whole thing. What is liquid glass deep pour epoxy? It's a casting resin with a couple of different applications, one of which we're just gonna focus on today in this video, which is the casting application. It's a 2 to 1 formula, meaning 2 parts A to 1 part B, by volume and by volume only. For weight, if you were to measure by weight, it's much more precise, but that is 100 to 44. 100 parts A to 44 B. That means, well, it's either by grams, by ounces, by pounds, whatever you want to do, but it's 100 to 44 ratio by weight. Liquid glass is glass clear when fully cured. Also has bubbleless technology, which is additives that we put in there to allow it to help release air, in addition to the viscosity helping it release air, so it defoams. So it's a great characteristic. Liquid glass is also the hardest formulation we offer. It's got a high Shore D, so that gives it a lot of strength and durability. For those of you that are familiar with Cam Anderson from Blacktail Studios, check the link below. You should be able to go see. He ran an informal strength test, which was pretty freaking cool. In that video, it really shows basically how structurally sound it is and how strong it is compared to wood. It's always stronger than the wood. Our main applications for liquid glass deep pour are casting applications like river tables, live edge tables, flower preservation, making lamp bases, things like that. I mean, as much as your imagination can run wild, that's where you can take it. So if you're gonna pour it, which we're gonna pour some here today, the first thing you need to do is you need to clean your molds. No matter whether it's these guys from Eye Candy Molds, brought to you by Eye Candy Pigments, go ahead and check the link below or come to our website. We're gonna be selling them by the time you see this. We're really excited to offer these. Whether it's silicone or you've made a mold out of melamine or whatever, you need to clean your mold before you use it. Essentially, you can get bubbles that like to grab onto little things and they'll hold on, you'll demold it and there'll be little pock marks with bubbles in it, dirt collected in it, or a hair, stray hair, or hairs. I know I have a lot of animals at home, so if I'm gonna do it, I always make sure to clean it. What we recommend you clean it with is our Super Clean. It's either that or you can use isopropyl alcohol 90% or higher. Remember, if you've ever called us before, we only recommend 90% or higher. You can get it at local Home Depots, Lowe's. If they don't have it, then definitely go check some of your Rite Aids, Walgreens, CVS's, things like that, and they should have that there, and it's relatively inexpensive. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna get our Super Clean right here. You can check the link below to get that, and then go over something that a lot of people tend to miss. You need a clean towel. This is not a clean towel. Do not use this, all right? So don't use that at all. You're gonna want, we sell these and they're just t-shirt rags that have been professionally cleaned and upcycled, so we like to use these. This is a clean towel. It's never been used before. We haven't used it on anything. So you're gonna take your mold. It's as easy as just spraying this in or putting isopropyl alcohol in there, 90% or higher. So I'm gonna spray this down and then I'm just gonna wipe it with a clean towel. That's it. Sometimes you might have to go over it more than once. That's okay, because you want to ensure that what your final result is it's gonna be clean and beautiful looking. So I'm gonna take this one, do the same thing. Okay, so now that I have these clean, I'm just gonna set them aside and then we're gonna get into mixing it, right? So maybe this isn't the best one to show you, but it's, I messed the box up. So we're gonna open this up and pull these out. 3-gallon kit, comes with instructions, so definitely read them, and a cool sticker if you want them. We're gonna mix this by volume today, all right? We've got a bigger cup. We're gonna use these to pour and measure out in. I'm just gonna show you what we do. We're gonna pour this whole thing There's no wood, no nothing. We've got plenty of wood here provided to us by Black Forest Sawmill, a great partner of ours, fantastic family-run business. Definitely check them out. Link below here. We're gonna pour this whole thing, then we're gonna do a step pour with this one. So we're gonna do a color pour, and then we're gonna do, on top of it, we're gonna come back and show you how to do a step pour. So you're gonna pour clear over top of it. For a lot of people that do flower preservation, giving it a color backing might be a nice addition. So we're gonna pour it probably, this I think is a 3-inch mold. So I think we'll probably pour like maybe a 3/4 of an inch. The first thing that you definitely want to do is you want to measure your B side out first. Why do I want to measure my B side out first? Well, B side is thinner, so it's less likely to stick to the sides of these. So you're gonna get a proper mix and proper ratio. We're gonna measure this because we've obviously got a lot to mix. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pour 48 ounces in here. Maybe I'll do 40 ounces, right? So 40 ounces, remember 2 to 1. So 2 parts of A to 1 part of B. So go in with the B. It's also important to note that whether you're getting our cups or somebody else's mixing cups, they may not always be completely accurate. If they print higher, then if you're mixing all in one cup, one of your parts is gonna be off. Because if you're pouring up to here, from here to here might not be the same. So you definitely want to keep an eye out. What I recommend is go ahead and just pour it into one cup, go ahead and pour it into another cup that you're going to be mixing in.
Finish him. Fatality.
Yeah, so it's going to be a full 120 ounces. So because I didn't mix in this cup, and I'm not pouring this into my project, then I can go ahead and scrape these sides like this, and it's not a problem. So I'm gonna use a Helix mixer and go to town. 8 to 10 minutes is the minimum you can mix it. I wouldn't mix it more than 12, but it does have a long work time, so just be careful. One thing I didn't mention was you definitely want to keep yours moving slow. You don't want it moving extremely fast. Also, while you're mixing, definitely use one of these. You can scrape the sides, at least for the first 3 to 4 minutes, and the bottom, just to make sure everything's incorporated.
So how much do you love mixing?
I hate mixing, but you gotta do it right. So if you don't do it right, it ain't gonna come out right. Quick little pro tip, this stuff can also be used to clean this thing. So with your Helix mixer, I let it drip off for a little bit, and then I'll just go ahead and hit it.
Bruh.
1 hour later.
Start wiping it off, and it's good as new. All right, so right now we're gonna use Macaw Blue Green from Eye Candy. So I'm not even gonna measure it. It's up to you how thick you want it. Color load, max color load for this epoxy, you don't wanna exceed like 8 to 10%, but that's a lot. That's a freaking lot. Whole lot of coloring. So you're kind of over pigmenting if you even get close to that. I mean, right here, I'm probably far less than 1%. So see how it goes. I do like adding or coloring in last. Here's a reason. That way, while I'm mixing it, I can see if any of that is unmixed. I mean, you can see striations, all that within it, as long as it's clear. If you put your coloring in first, well, you're not gonna see that, and you're just kind of playing a guessing game to, you know, whether it's mixed or not. All right, so now that I have the colorant mixed in, then I'm just gonna go ahead and pour it out. So because we're pouring at the end of the day, I'm not gonna be able to get back here when this starts to gel up, which is typically about 10 to 12 hours after you initially pour. Right now it says 70 over there, but because of these lights, it's probably 72 in here. So I'm not gonna be able to get to it. And 72 degrees, yeah, 10 to 12 hours, it's gonna start gelling, which means it's gonna start thickening up. What you're looking for if you're trying to put in little swirl marks, things like that, is a honey-like consistency. And that way, the mica powder won't just sink to the bottom for the most part. The colorant will float and be suspended, but because liquid glass is very thin viscosity, the mica is too heavy to be suspended, so some of it will settle out. What you actually need to do is wait until it gets to that gel phase, that honey-like consistency, and then go ahead and put your designs in there. However, there's a cheat code to that. What I like to do, if I'm not around for it and I want to get those billowing designs, I put a little bit, just a little bit, isopropyl alcohol, 90% or higher, just a little bit. I'm not even going to put this whole cap full in. Now you have to be careful. If you put too much, you can have adverse effects. So I'm just going to, can you see what that does already right off the bat? And I'm going to go ahead and mix that in. So what this does is it keeps the epoxy and the mica kind of moving and billowing throughout your piece. And it gives it a little bit of a random look. Whereas if you wait until it's a honey-like consistency and you start stirring that stuff in, you have more control. But this is a little bit more of a natural look, and you'll see. So, I mean, I can sit here and do whatever I want, but that's gonna change by the time I come back tomorrow. All right, now moving on. We're gonna mix up some more and pour the first 3/4 of an inch for this one. So this is a good look at those striations I was talking about. You can kind of see it right here. See that? That's indicative of it not being mixed. Can you see it? So for this one, I'm actually gonna add it in the beginning. We're gonna go ahead and use cerise from Eye Candy Pigments. Done with that. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and pour in here. Notice how I'm letting it drip instead of scooping it out or scraping out the bucket. This is because just in case there's unmixed material in there, I don't want that to go into my pour. So I let what's coming out come out. It's still running. Once it starts dripping, consider everything else unmixed material. All right, so we're gonna stop there with that. You'll notice here, I didn't even hit it with a heat gun. What I did was I let that go. A common misunderstanding is that when you see a lot of bubbles, you apply heat and that works the bubbles out. That never happens. Actually, what you do is you heat this stuff up, it starts to cure faster. It goes from getting heated up to thinning the viscosity and then rapidly start curing. Epoxy by nature always uses heat to cure anyways. So you have two molecules, opposite molecules, they find each other, they do what's called cross-linking. After cross-linking, a byproduct of cross-linking is heat. So they expel heat. What that heat does is it excites other molecules to look for their opposite molecules. Then they bond or they cross-link or fuse, and then it kicks off more heat. So the faster that those reactions happen, the quicker this is gonna cure. You want it to be a nice, steady bell curve of curing. So the more heat, you gotta be careful with that. The more heat that you add to this, the faster it's gonna cure. So just keep that in mind. So if you're looking at this, I didn't hit it at all with heat. What it's doing now is that all the bubbles came to the top and popped. I only see maybe 6, 7. So I'm gonna go through here and just hit those with the heat gun, because that's all you're doing really, is popping the bubbles on the surface. And with a heat gun on low, you're pretty good. You don't really have to worry about beating up the epoxy, because that's something you want to always be mindful of. I'm going around the edges to make sure that any bubbles that clinged on the edge are going to get popped. All right, now going over here, getting these. But you notice as I'm going higher with the heat gun, I'm also further away from the actual epoxy. So when I'm lower, I can get closer and you won't risk overheating it. All right, so the last thing you always want to do is you always want to get airflow on this to move some of that air around. So I'm going to use this tiny little fan on low to help keep any heat down and push any of the heat away and disperse it from the actual epoxy itself. Heat's always your enemy with this stuff, whether it's tabletop, art resin, quick curing epoxies, countertop epoxy, deep pour epoxy, anything like that, heat is always gonna be your enemy. All right, so what we're gonna do, now that we have all these poured, we got a fan on it, we're gonna go ahead and just kind of walk away, wrap this video up. We're gonna come back and check on this tomorrow, and then we'll probably cut to it or something like that. All right, guys, we're back. It's Thursday. What we're gonna do right now, I just wanted to come in here, and then we're gonna go ahead and mix some more material and then pour on top of this. So first things first, obviously, we got A, B, there we go, and this guy. Remember, we're gonna pour our B first, and then we're gonna pour our A. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and mix this up. You guys know the drill by now, it's pretty easy. Oh no, the battery's dying. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Son of a Hold on. It's still got some juice. I'm gonna let this thing die. I'm gonna let it die. I guess my battery died. My charger's at home, so that's great. I'm gonna go ahead and hand mix this for the next, I don't know, 6 minutes. Got this mixed up, and then we're gonna go ahead and pour it. And then we're gonna pretty much walk away. I'll probably hit it with a heat gun for a second or two, and then we're gonna walk away. All right, guys, I'm back here. It's Friday. This thing is fully cured. We've got the other one from yesterday that we poured, and then we're gonna wait on that. Since it's Friday, it still is gonna take a couple days, so we're not gonna be here over the weekend, so we'll be finishing this out next Monday. Let's see here. There we go. That was pretty simple. Here it is. Super duper easy to pour. It's all shiny, so it's not a flat look to it. As you guys can see, you can see here where there's all those plumes. In any event, we'll be demoulding that next Monday. All right, so we're back. It's Monday, and we're gonna take this out of the mold. Unfortunate part is somebody messed with this over the weekend, and they got a hair in it, and they scratched it somehow right here before it was done curing, and then there's like a hair stuck in there. So, I mean, this thing looks really good aside from that, but what we're gonna do is we'll do another video, and this is actually fortunate or fortuitous. We're gonna come back and we're gonna do one of two things. Either, I haven't decided yet, either we're gonna do a dome pour to see how you can get rid of that, as well as these little sharp angles on the side, or we're gonna show you how to sand and polish this thing. All right? All right. I hope this video was informative. We really appreciate you guys sticking around, seeing what happens with liquid glass. Visit us for more, see some upcoming videos where we'll go in depth with all of our products, especially this one, and you'll get a better idea on how to work with this product. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you get notifications when a new video comes out, and we'll see you next time. Thanks. I hope this film was, No, from 1920. Make sure to like, subscribe, make sure to